What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. I know a lot of people like to say that with Black Myth Wukong, that the whole Sweet Baby Inc. Consultation company threat thing that they, the game developers turned down their basically like a mob threat of like, it'd be a shame if something happened to your game if you didn't have any sort of sensitivity readings. Just give us $7 million and we'll DEI up your game. And they said kick rocks. So if that was all a fake, and they're saying that they said that just because they knew it would draw like our attention. Oh, look, someone's defying, and it did work. Where the hell did all these hit campaigns? And it's Fast and Furious, and we were talking about that. First and foremost, though, it didn't matter, right? Because even though there have been hit campaigns, you could see once the benchmarking tool came out, there still had 85,000 people at the same time essentially getting this and trying to play the game. It's been #1 on the Steam wish list. We just heard a little bit about ago there, like a legal agreement that might have been out that to not put politics or any sort of ideology. If you're making content and talking about it, just talk about the game. All good things. But one of the oldest things we've heard about, and it is that attack campaign from IGN and GameSpot and a couple others, that the developers are racist. The developers' game science specifically are all racist and sexist, and all the isms that we know that these days mean almost nothing because they're used just as insults instead of actual facts. A very lovely Chinese gamer has refuted their sexism by, of course, actually going to what was said when it was said, what the context of it was. And the big sin of all of this seems to be some very disingenuous translations of game developer comments. And some of them might be a little earned, but for the most part, it seems it was highly disingenuous. So Chinese gamer and YouTuber Fei Fi, and she's very sweet. I was watching some of her videos. I was going to react to it, but instead, I think I'm just going to put the link to this channel in. She goes on to explain one of the lovely points she made is that Chinese games haven't really had their own identity. They've sort of been re-skins of things and online games and money grabs, and that this is truly a Chinese work of culture and substance, which is why it's such the rub that the DEI companies couldn't get their grubby little fingers in it. Thus, the vigorous hate campaign that it's going to actually be something original and true to Chinese culture. Sort of how Assassin's Creed Shadows should have been, she mentions Assassin's Creed, should have been true to Japanese culture. Instead, there's been a significant part of it carved out for Western influence. So let's get into what she was saying. But first, those, again, I talked about the hit campaigns. There's one from IGN specifically reporting that several posts have surfaced from Chinese social media websites written by individuals from the studio that contain multiple references to genitalia and sexual innuendo. And if you watch some of my videos, some of my streams, I do that all the time. It's called humor and jokes, and when you say it like matter-of-factly like that without any context, you can make anything sound bad. They said it also stated that this was coupled by recruitment posters by the studio produced in 2015, which featured images and headline that point to a culture of ingrained sexism in game science. So sexism, boo boo boo, and those posters. And you can see here it's first reported by Smash JT and then confirmed by Fei Fi. The posters' existence were made by someone who worked on Black Myth Wukong. They had worked on 2 mobile games to survive, which they didn't know much about. And during this period, they made some rather vulgar recruitment posters that reflected their usual style and received criticism. But that was sort of like a rogue element. And then she goes on to say, I'm sure you've encountered people like this, those who think dirty jokes or swearing are funny. Sorry. Personally, I don't mind much. Based, I think anyone occasionally swears to release stress, and I do too. Hot. But I would never bring such behavior to work or formal occasions. Yes, unless you have a very fun workplace. Nor would I include it in a video. That a sense of boundaries and respect of others. Otherwise, like them now, while they're gaining high attention, their low quality behavior also gets magnified, even causing people to accuse them of being sexist. So basically what she's saying is the posters were just in bad taste. And again, that's just, make sure to check out her channel. I'll link it below. The last big thing that they tackle is some of these statements that when directly translated do sound bad. For example, I want to expand my circle and hire more people, getting licked until I can't get an erection. Now, That's a localizer thing. I know it sounds bad. It sort of sounds like I want to eat like ice cream until I'm sick. It's a colloquialism. But here we go. He's other things very similar to. I know you just happen to be a little depressed. It is my honor to provide you with some comfort in the lower half of your body, and other things like that, which again sound bad in direct and iffy translations. She goes on to comment saying that they are indeed mistranslated, or at the very least misinterpreted, to paint them in a different light. This is something that Asmongold was covering. You can see here basically that like it's a used idiom in the Chinese language and as a colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery or sycophancy has an overwhelming or paralyzing effect on someone. The use of such metaphors can be found in informal speech on social media. So you get the idea. Stuff like this, and that's just, of course, other Black Myth Wukong notable events, which really all stem around, did they deny that fucking Sweet Baby Inc. Ask of $7 million? And if they didn't, why is there all of a sudden this interest across the board of some random social media posts from a Chinese game developer in languages that these gaming journalists don't even understand? It seems highly coordinated and for a reason. The only reason I can think of is that they did turn down that sensitivity reading and the essentially $7 million extortion that they tried. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe it's all just a coincidence. Either way, hadn't mattered one tick to them because they've been #1 on the Steam wish list since June. Like I said, almost 100,000 people over there downloading their benchmarking tool to make sure that their computer can run it. So let me know what you think about all this. Should like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.